Episode 41, Cambridge Latin Stories. The Murphys struggled financially when I was young. We did not own a car, a house, or a phone. We had one cold water bathroom with a tub but no shower for 7 kids and 2 parents. I always worked. I don't remember when I did not have some money making job, sometimes two at once. In high school, I worked in the cafeteria at Cambridge Latin School during lunch breaks. I loved it because I got to eat anything I wanted and I ate well. Tuna casserole, American chop suey, macaroni and cheese, fish cakes and beans, etc. And red jello. I must have eaten 25 gallons of red jello. And they had spice cake with butter frosting that I loved. I ate sheet pans full of that good stuff. But there was one downside. I had the runs from the damn food for all of my 4 years in high school. I won all the track meets because they put a Johnny on the spot portable toilet at the end of the track for me. When I graduated, still considered a miracle in the now rare Catholic circles in Cambridge, and I went to work, I thought something was wrong with my gastrointestinal system because I only crap once a day. The Exlax people never made a nickel on me, although that Exlax chocolate looked good to a sweet eater like me. But I got my laxative free from the city of Cambridge in its good old red jello, spice cake, and American chop suey. Pedagogically, after having the nuns at Blessed Sacrament School for 9 years, I was spoiled. The sisters made sure each student was aware of what he was supposed to be learning and whether he was learning it. The sisters would work with each of us. If we did not understand something, then they would test us to see that we indeed got it. I learned how to write, spell, speak English reasonably well, understand my Catholic faith, understand the pertinent history of my state, city, and country, and many other very important things such as what is moral and what is not. When I arrived at Cambridge Latin School, I was left on my own. I could pass or I could fail. Nobody at Latin School gave a shit. There were no Notre Dame nuns to mother me. I chose the college course because it was assumed at home that I would go to college and be a great big success like my Harvard graduate older brother Gary. My courses were tough. Latin 1, Algebra 1, Ancient History, College English, and Science. At my school, there was no such thing as honors courses. The Cambridge Latin college courses were all honor courses. Also, Cambridge Latin School by design had the toughest Latin teachers. Two were old maids, Miss Miles and Miss Haggerty. They were strictly no-nonsense homework up the gazoo. Algebra and geometry were also taught by drill instructor types. Those math subjects were incomprehensible to me. My English teacher, though, Thomas Burns, was the best teacher I ever had. He was interesting, somewhat tough, but merciful. A good example for adolescents, boys, and he was effective. I learned from him, but I got way behind on Latin and algebra and never caught up. I passed algebra with a C, but somehow flunked Latin. I was able to keep up with the other courses, getting C's except in English where I got a B. It was daunting and I started to think I was stupid. I never had a learning problem at Blessed Sacrament. I was at the top of my grammar school class in English, spelling, and history, but was never great in math. I think now I should have been phased into Cambridge Latin's tough regime. I needed to learn discipline and how to study. I never did learn those two till I was an adult. I took Latin again the next year and passed, but I was always behind the 8 ball in my studies. I graduated with my class, but to do so, I had to replace some of the tough classes with gut courses, such as business law, music appreciation, health, and pre-chef, which was cooking for boys. High school classes were not much fun for me. I have been analyzing why I did not do well academically and socially at Cambridge Latin. One reason may be that I had no previous experience going to school with girls. The concentration necessary to pay attention to algebra disappeared as I tried to peer through the diaphanous blouse of the girl in front of me. Doing outrageous things to get female attention did not help me in class either. Another factor that disrupted my scholarly attempts was my ethnic victimhood mindset. I learned from Dad. My father was consumed with ethnicity. He always needed to know other people's ethnic background. I drank the Kool-Aid too. I thought I was discriminated against because of my Irish Catholic background. That included the teachers, the administration, and the students. When my marks were bad, I looked for scapegoats. The Jewish teacher or the Yankee teacher did not like me because I was Irish. The Irish teacher should be favoring me, and he did not. None of that was true, but logic was not a strong suit for little Roddy then. Nor was I happy with my fitting in at Cambridge Latin. I had a small coterie of friends who were neither jocks nor brains. We did not join the clubs, student government, Latin club, etc., partly because most of us had part-time jobs after school. The clubs met after classes. Jobs were necessary for a kid from a poor family. I was very conscious of my appearance and needlessly embarrassed by my family's home situation. I became aware that the Murphys lacked many material things that most of my classmates had. I tried to hide from my school friends my lack of many ordinary accoutrements, like the fact that we had no telephone, no automobile, had no hot water or a shower at home. Some were examples. I had never been to a dentist. I had then and still have yellow teeth. We grew up before fluoride treated water. Kids today have all white teeth produced by the fluoride additive. Maybe I should have changed my book's title to Growing Up Fluoride with Less. Cleaning up before school involved brushing my teeth with salt or sometimes bicarbonate of soda, washing my face, neck, hands, and arms with a face cloth, cold water, and ivory soap. A bath was very infrequent. I began to be aware of body odor. Bob Robichaud, my brother-in-law, grew up in Dorchester in similar circumstances. He commented to me recently, "We must have all stank." But we didn't know any better. I think that I did know better. I guess growing up in Boston applies to Dorchester too. My underwear and socks were worn and ragged. My outer clothes were not much better. After gym, I did not shower because I did not have soap or a towel or even a gym bag. Often I dressed without using the gym shower. I'm sure I had BO regularly. I was very aware of girls and surprisingly forward with them in spite of my pungent shortcomings. I have never been afraid to talk to anyone. Because of my hygiene, and probably because I was gangly, pimply, skinny, and not very lovable, I did not have any girls interested in me, especially as a freshman. That was another reason for my being an unhappy high school student. In high school, girls were always mysterious and unattainable. In the movies and advertising of that era, there always seemed to be boys and girls on an equal basis, dancing and smiling and drinking cokes and having fun and relating to each other at malt shop and other such make-believe Hollywood inventions. Because unfortunately we were located in another make-believe place, Cambridge, there was also a malt shop type place for adolescents, sponsored by the YWCA, called the Canteen. The YWCA, or Women's Christian Association, at one time was a Christian, albeit Protestant, women's organization. Currently, it is in favor of unfettered abortion, homosexual marriage, transsexual operations, and so-called safe sex for all its charges. Young, impressionable women, very unchristian, I think. The YWCA was a dream come true for boys like me. It provided a big, comfortable room with upholstered chairs, divans, a soda fountain, a counter, and a dance floor. There were up-to-date records and a phonograph. Mostly girls attended. There was little competition since many boys didn't attend. It was organized and chaperoned by Radcliffe volunteers. Previously, the only girl-boy mixing that I knew about was sponsored by the Roman Catholic organizations like KIRO or the CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization. It was set up to keep boys away from girls, other than highly chaperoned systems. Any church-related dancing had to leave mucho room between the dances for the Holy Ghost. I guess the Holy Ghost is a fat ass. Hanky-panky was immediately discovered and stopped. The canteen had no such rules. My problem with this potential paradise was I could seldom go because I worked after school and all that dreamy fraternization went on at the same time. Boy, did I hate high school. Thank you for viewing or listening to my podcast episode. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, and if you so choose, I ask you to send a good review and perhaps refer friends who might be interested in this podcast series. Again, my thanks.